For decades, the Bermuda Triangle had been sold as a place of myth and terrifying speculation. It is a patch of ocean where, supposedly, the laws of physics give up. But what if the myths are just that, myths? The story goes that hundreds of ships and planes vanished not because of storms or human error, but because they were taken. Some claim to have analyzed Starlink data pointing to a shocking conclusion: we are not alone, and aliens are using the Bermuda Triangle as a cosmic highway. The disappearances, they say, aren't accidents, they're traffic. It is a story of an intergalactic crossroads hidden in plain sight. Tonight, we're going to look at the proof and see what's actually real. Section E, the enduring mystery. The legend is practically etched into our minds, the spooky stretch of the North Atlantic where the unthinkable happens. For over a century, it's been painted as a graveyard for the unlucky, swallowing vessels whole and leaving nothing but questions. The story that cemented the triangle in our nightmares began on December 1945. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers, known as Flight 19, took off from Fort Lauderdale for a routine training exercise. They never returned. The radio chatter that day tells a story of confusion and disorientation as the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, got lost. Official Navy investigators concluded it was a tragic case of navigational error that led the planes to run out of fuel. The most dramatic radio quotes, like "the ocean doesn't look as it should," were actually added by writers years later to spice up the story. The Navy's report was later amended to cause unknown, partly to spare the family of the flight leader from blame. When a Martin Mariner rescue plane was sent to find them, it also vanished. But this wasn't a mystery. The Mariner planes were known for having explosion-prone fuel tanks. And a merchant ship in the area reported seeing a burst of flame in the sky right where the plane disappeared. Then there's the tale of the USS Cyclops from 1918, a massive Navy ship that disappeared with over 70 people on board, marking a huge non-combat loss of life for the U.S. Navy. But even this has plausible explanations. The ship was known to be overloaded with dense manganese ore, and it had a cracked engine cylinder. The leading theory is that it suffered a structural failure and sank in a powerful storm. These stories are scary, but are they truly unusual? According to both the U.S. Coast Guard and Lloyd's of London, the number of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is no higher than in any other heavily trafficked part of the ocean. Section R, debunking the explanations. Of course, a whole buffet of scientific theories have been served up to explain the mystery. Let's look at a few. One of the most popular is the methane hydrates theory. The idea is that giant bubbles of methane gas could erupt from the seafloor, lowering the water's density so much that a ship would sink instantly. It sounds convincing, but the U.S. Geological Survey has stated there is no evidence of any large-scale methane gas releases in the Bermuda Triangle for the last 1,500 years. Then there is the talk of major magnetic anomalies. It has often claimed the Bermuda Triangle is one of the only places where a compass points to true north instead of magnetic north. This refers to something called the agonic line, but this line isn't a fixed or unique feature. It moves over time and is currently in the Gulf of Mexico. Furthermore, scientific surveys have found no unusual magnetic disturbances in the region. While navigators have to account for the natural magnetic declination, it's a known part of sailing, not a mysterious force. Then what about the strange electronic fog? This idea comes almost entirely from the story of one pilot, Bruce Jernan. He described flying through a swirling tunnel cloud that caused his instruments to fail and warp time. While it's a compelling story, it remains an unverified personal account. Severe thunderstorms can cause electrical phenomena and extreme disorientation, which could provide a more conventional explanation. Section 3, the intergalactic crossroads theory. This is where the story usually pivots to the fantastic, the idea that the Bermuda Triangle is an alien portal. Proponents of this theory claim extraterrestrials use the area's unique properties to power a gateway, and the disappearances are either abduction or just collateral damage. A key part of this theory is the link between unidentified flying objects (UFOs) and unidentified submerged objects (USOs). The claim is that craft are tracked moving at impossible speeds, diving into the ocean, and continuing on. Some tales mention a Russian admiral, Yuri Beketov, speaking about the classified naval encounters with these USOs. However, these claims are not substantiated by any credible, verifiable sources or official records. The U.S. Coast Guard has officially stated that in reviewing disappearances over the years, there has been nothing discovered that would indicate that casualties were the result of anything other than physical causes. Section 6. Where's the proof? For a theory this big, you'd expect some solid evidence. Let's see what's offered. The story often begins with Christopher Columbus, who noted erratic compass readings and saw a strange light fall into the sea. But in 1492, compass variations weren't well understood, and the light could easily have been a meteor. More recently, treasure hunter Darrell Meadows, using maps from astronaut Gordon Cooper, claimed he found a massive alien-like structure on the seabed. Cooper had been tasked by the government to look for magnetic anomalies that could indicate nuclear threats and created charts of what he saw from space. While the TV show Cooper's Treasure presented Meadows' find as a potential USO, this claim had not been verified by any mainstream scientists, and no official sources have confirmed such a structure exists. Then we return to pilot Bruce Jenner, who claimed he traveled 5 miles in just a few minutes. He believed he flew through a time storm. While his experience sounds incredible, it remains a personal anecdote. There is no independent evidence of time distortion or teleportation in the Bermuda Triangle. Section 5. The scientific backing that falls apart. To make the portal theory sound more credible, some try to connect it to real physics, like Einstein-Rosen-Bridge, better known as wormhole. While physicists like Michio Kaku do discuss wormholes as a theoretical possibility for an incredibly advanced civilization, it remains a purely mathematical concept. There is absolutely no evidence one exists on Earth. Perhaps the biggest factual error used to support this theory is the confusion between the Bermuda Triangle and the South Atlantic anomaly SA. The SA is a real, well-documented area where the Earth's magnetic field is weaker, causing satellites and spacecraft like the International Space Station to experience higher radiation and potential electronic glitches. However, the SA is located over South America and the South Atlantic Ocean, thousands of miles away from the Bermuda Triangle in the North Atlantic. The two are entirely separate phenomena.
Conclusion: when we pull back the curtain, the evidence just isn't there. We have stories that have been sensationalized over the years, theories based on debunked science, and a complete lack of credible proof. The number of incidents in the Bermuda Triangle isn't statistically unusual, and most have logical explanations, from severe weather to human error. THEUS.gov doesn't even officially recognize the Bermuda Triangle on any of its maps. The conclusion is pretty clear: the Bermuda Triangle isn't a paranormal mystery of disappearance, but a fascinating study in how legends are born and grow. The real question isn't what's happening in the triangle, but why these captivating stories are often more appealing than the facts. What do you think? Is there something the experts have missed, or is this a case of great storytelling? Let us know your theory in the comments below. And for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries, make sure you subscribe.